Before getting started, a quick warning that this video will contain spoilers up to the end of episode 3. The Batch are still in hyperspace after their near miss with the Empire on Seleucami. Omega doesn't have her own room, Wrecker is hungry, Echo is repairing the ship, and Tech is working on a device to scan for inhibitor chip functionality. The power capacitor fails and the crew all strap in for a crash landing on a desolate moon. Then we get what's probably the best scene out of this entire episode.
We're gonna die, we're gonna be fine, we're gonna be fine.
Turns out they actually are fine as they touch down with a safe, albeit bumpy landing. Before setting out to replace the capacitor with a spare, Wrecker mentions how he misses Crosshair. Tech and Omega try to explain to both Echo and Hunter that the inhibitor chip is probably what controlled Crosshair and influenced him to betray them. Before this line of discussion can continue, Hunter reminds the group that the first priority is fixing the ship and getting off the moon. Back at Camino, Crosshair continues undergoing his inhibitor chip augmentation procedures. He looks pretty miserable. Rampart, the Empire's man behind the chain code system, arrives to speak with Tarkin. A new project is in the works, codenamed War Mantle. It's an initiative to induct natural-born volunteers to serve and learn under specialized clone commanders such as Crosshair. Rampart and Prime Minister Lama Su are at odds. Lama Su is confident that natural-born conscripted recruits would never match the same level of military proficiency as the engineered clones. Rampart argues back that skills can be taught and that the increased loyalty of those who willingly enlist will be much more valuable. In order to test the viability of this new squad, Tarkin sends them to Onderon to see if they can succeed in following orders where the Bad Batch failed. Crosshair is en route to Onderon with his new squad, although one of the conscripted recruits already seems to be questioning the sharpshooter's leadership status given that he's a clone. Crosshair doesn't seem too bothered by the question, leaving it unanswered. Arriving on the planet, Crosshair leads his squad with tactical precision and efficiency, wiping out the entirety of Saw Gerrera's troops in a span of time no more than a minute in length. All the while, the new Imperial squad doesn't even lose a single soldier. It seems one of the Republic fighters will actually escape with civilians and another fighter aboard a shuttle. Unfortunately, one of Crosshair's squad members snipes the pilot, bringing the ship's takeoff to an abrupt halt as it thuds back down to the ground. Exiting the ship, the lone remaining Resistance fighter tells Crosshair that she doesn't know where Saw Gerrera is, and even if she did, she wouldn't tell him. Without so much as a thought, Crosshair executes the soldier, saying he believes her. He moves on to question the civilians, and they explain that they don't know anything, just that they were promised transport off-world. Crosshair decides that makes them of no use to the Empire and is about to shoot them as well. However, one of Crosshair's subordinates steps in, saying that this is wrong. He wants to detain the civilians as prisoners and take them in for questioning, citing that they signed up to be soldiers, not an execution squad, and that they should all ignore the clone. Crosshair brings up the question he previously left unanswered, asking, "You want to know why they put me in charge? It's because I'm willing to do what needs to be done." He punctuated the point, firing a blaster round directly into the chest of the disloyal recruit. Point proven, Crosshair orders his 3 remaining recruits to finish the mission. They comply, using rifles, LMGs, and even a flamethrower to see the task through. Upon returning to base, Crosshair debriefs Tarkin on the mission results. Gerrera escaped, but the rest of the camp was dealt with, and there was one casualty on their side. Tarkin decides that although the clone program is a cost-prohibitive relic of the past, it will continue to serve a purpose until the time is right. He leaves the War Mantle Project in the hands of the now Admiral Rampart. On the desolate moon, it's looking pretty similar to Empire Strikes Back. While they were initially able to install the new power capacitor, Echo noticed that some sort of creature caused additional damage to the ship's exterior. Not long after, even the newly installed capacitor goes missing. On board the ship, Wrecker's head is hurting, probably because he bumped it during the crash landing, though this could be some foreshadowing for future issues with his own inhibitor chip. The batch soon spot their unwelcomed guest, and Tech informs the crew that it's likely an Ordo Moon Dragon, a species that feeds on raw energy, which would explain why it ran off with the power capacitor. Hunter leaves Tech and Echo with the tasks of getting the ship's other systems online. At her insistence, Hunter takes along Omega to track down the Moon Dragon and retrieve the capacitor. As they search, Hunter tells Omega that his enhanced skill is in tracking. When Omega notices that Hunter doesn't like talking about Crosshair, she assures him that Crosshair couldn't help his own actions and that Hunter shouldn't be mad at him. Hunter explains that he's more mad at himself for leaving one of their kind behind. At this, Omega resolves to rescue and bring Crosshair back over to their side. Shortly thereafter, they come upon the capacitor. As Hunter goes to retrieve it, the Moon Dragon emerges from its hiding spot, knocking Hunter over and the mask loose from his face before making off with the crucial part. Luckily for Hunter, Omega quickly takes control of the situation, reattaching his mask and restoring the life-sustaining air. However, whether because of something in the moon's atmosphere or just due to a lack of oxygen, Hunter passes out. With no working comms, completion of the mission is left to Omega. After giving herself a quick pep talk, she grabs Hunter's flashlight and blaster pistol, then heads after the beast. With little resistance, Omega is able to find the Moon Dragon's hoard of electronics and parts, quickly spotting the capacitor. However, the creature shows up moments later to defend its treasure. Hunter stirs awake with a jolt to find Omega missing and begins assuming the worst. Fortunately for Omega, the Moon Dragon doesn't attack and actually calms down once she's turned off her flashlight. Getting an idea, she turns on and tosses aside the electronic device, drawing away the power-hungry beast. Taking advantage of the distraction, Omega quickly snatches up the capacitor and sneaks out of the nest. At first, Hunter was mostly concerned with Omega's well-being, but it only took a few moments for worry to turn into surprise as he realized that Omega successfully completed the mission on her own. Crosshair returns to the former Bad Batch barracks, now noticeably cleaner, with his new squad. However, as he settles into his bunk, he seems conflicted. Elsewhere, the Kaminoans discuss how they will keep the clone program from becoming obsolete. Nala Se admits that the original DNA donated from Jango Fett continues to degrade. Lama Su urges the scientist onto the next phase of the clone project, saying that if her experiments can yield a superior clone, it will secure their relationship with the new empire. Nala Se responds, saying that she will need the return of the Bad Batch in order to complete her experiments. Aboard the Bad Batch ship, Wrecker surprises Omega with a room for her that he'd been working on while she was completing her mission. She never had a room before, she's part of a squad, sentimental feelings, and so on. That's the end of this episode. I liked this episode more than the previous one because it was a little darker and less Omega focused. I can see Dave Filoni is really trying to make Omega not feel like a burden and actually feel like she's contributing something to the squad, and while it comes off as a little cliche and isn't always super believable, I do appreciate the effort. The mission with Crosshair kind of caught me off guard. I didn't think Crosshair would end up forcing his own men to execute innocent civilians, but there you go. I thought the use of a flamethrower to do the job was a bit overkill though. Even if the batch managed to rescue Crosshair and remove his inhibitor chip, I'm not sure he will ever be able to recover after doing the things he's done. I suppose time will tell. Anyways, I'd give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. If you want to be notified for videos like this on future episodes, be sure to subscribe. You're also helping me feed my cat, her name's Marshmallow. Have a great day if you're here today, have a great Friday, and a great weekend, and as always, thanks for watching.